Roll call.
Just a second. Dan Dodge,
Here.
Kenyatta Harding,
Here.
Veronica Glover,
Here.
Robert Scherer, Bradford Reed, not here.
Okay. Does not look like minutes got into the, did they get in?
Yes,
They're
yes,
in.
they're in here. Yes. Okay, yes. Next item of business on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the June 25th, 2025 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion for approval of the minutes from June 25th.
A second.
Okay, it has been properly motioned and second that we approve the June 25th, 2025 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting minutes. All in favor? Say
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Our new item for business will be 1125 North Summit Street, site plan approval. This is a request by Fred R. Jones Jr. of Matthews Engineering on behalf of 1125 North Summit Street LLC to approve a site plan for plus or minus 7.55 acres of land located at 1125 North Summit Street. The site plan depicts an expansion of the existing facility to include 2 new residential buildings with a total of 80 beds and a new office building, in addition to walkways, landscaping, and stormwater management improvements, I'm sorry. Okay.
Good evening. The current zoning classification for this property. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
The current zoning classification for this property is planned development. This is a property that is currently in use as a residential substance use disorder treatment facility and may look familiar as it has been before this board previously. The current site plan is for an expansion that was included in the concept plan for the planned development. It includes 3 new buildings, 2 are for residential beds, each with 40 beds, and then the 3rd building is for an office. The applicant has specified that the facility has 67 employees that are divided into 3 shifts. So at any given time, there are about 22 employees on site, and there is already enough parking to accommodate the expansion. There are no plans to expand the parking at this time. The landscape plan has been reviewed by staff and has been found to comply with the land development code and the plan development agreement. There are 55 trees required and 59 are proposed. 31 of those trees are existing and will remain, and the rest will be planted. There's also a 6-foot vinyl fence that will help provide screening. The stormwater management system was reviewed for compliance with the land development code. 2 stormwater ponds are proposed to accommodate the new buildings and walkways, and a St. Johns River Water Management District permit will also be required. There are no wetlands on the site, and there are no major environmental impacts expected since the site is already developed. The utility plans for the site have been reviewed by staff and are found to be sufficient. The new buildings will connect to central water and sanitary sewer systems. Existing lift station pumps will accommodate the expansion and the additional flows in the existing public water infrastructure. currently does not have adequate fire flow pressure to meet the minimum requirements for fire suppression. So until improvements are made to increase available fire flow, the expanded site cannot be safely served for fire protection purposes. This is something that the engineer is still working with utilities department on. The existing on-site dumpster will accommodate the expansion that will handle the solid waste aspect of the site. Staff recommends approval of the site plan application to authorize development of the facility in support of St. John's Recovery Place operations. The site plan approval is conditioned on the applicant entering into a written agreement with the city in a form acceptable to the city attorney to cost share with the city for the design and construction of water infrastructure improvements that are necessary to provide sufficient fire flow. The agreement will include the applicant's proportional cost share obligation, the scope and the timing of the required infrastructure improvements, that no building permit will be issued until the agreement is fully executed and recorded, and that the construction of the improvements will be completed before any vertical construction occurs on the site.
Happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Everything appears to look good. I'm just, concerned about the public water infrastructure. So how would we, handle that? Where right now it's not, it's a safety.
So what will happen is, and discussion has already occurred, so, because they have basically two options. One is they could construct a tank on site. There's water and wastewater to the site, and it has sufficient flow for any, potable use or disposable waste use.
Okay.
Right, it just doesn't have sufficient flow if there is a large fire on site that would involve, full building or multiple buildings. So, and I think you guys might be aware that that is an issue, not just for this building, but it's an issue for that northern end of the city tends to have that issue. There's sufficient fire on, if there's a house fire, the trucks do have some water, there's pressure in the system, but this is a larger facility. And so they've been given the option of big tank on site that would basically remain filled at all times and would only be used in the event they needed, to supplement the water that would be, carried to the site in a fire truck or the hydrants that are available. The other option is to participate in a broader project where the city undertakes an upgrade to the facility, and that's the option that they've selected. So the city's already gone forward and obtained some funding for these improvements, so this is not something that, isn't going to occur. What'll happen is though, because they have a need and a specific fire demand, they'll be participating in this project, to the extent to which their share of the amount of water they'll need on the site for fire suppression will all get calculated, figure out how much water volume is going to be brought to the site, and so they'll end up basically assisting the city and what already was a broader plan to kind of address the deficiencies.
So they've already selected their plan, so now we're just figuring numbers? Is that what we're having to?
Yes, I mean, so a design has been created. Obviously, there will be some, I think, additional work that you guys will have to do on site. But that's all been determined. So the issue is how much ultimately will it cost, because this hasn't been bid or anything.
Right.
right? So first, we're gonna do math and go back and forth between our engineers and their engineer. Agree to, what percentage they'll be responsible, what percentage the city will be responsible. It'll then go out for bid. And
So Mark, if this is successful, then it will correct a deficiency in the pressure of the water in the north end of the city.
correct,
Correct? Yes, so it's just not this facility, it will benefit that community.
yes, it will.
Okay.
That's why St. John's Recovery Place chose to take that option to benefit more than just themselves, benefit the surrounding neighbors as well.
Indeed, and Mark, can you update me? It used to be in hospitality that every room had to be sprinkled in guest rooms, except for the first floor. If you had a building that just had first floor, then it wasn't required. Now, I'm talking 15, 20 years ago. I assume that's changed?
It has, it does vary based on the actual size of the building. And it varies on what would be the occupancy load and just the compartmentalization. So, for example, you might have a building that because of its size, would require a sprinkler, but if you install certain types of barriers, firewalls, and, sometimes you'll see, like an architect will increase what would be the standard firewall because they want to reduce the fire demand and then decrease the sprinkler requirement. But but if you're just talking sort of generally, a building that is smaller than 9,000 square feet, that's not a place of assembly, can avoid sprinklers if there is sufficient fire flow from the hydrants.
Sure. I have another question, on this expansion. I assume that there's a kitchen and dining room, that meals are prepared at the facility?
And
Yeah.
so for the actual
Hold on,
buildings, or
excuse me,
they're apartment style, so
Excuse
every apartment will have,
Yeah, so,
excuse me, we have to do
Yes, so-
proper,
oh,
yes.
And I didn't introduce.
Right, that's
my name is
what I
Kyle
was getting-
Sauer.
Michelle, please come to the podium and introduce
And
yourself.
yes, and he needs to introduce himself first as well.
My name is Kyle Sowers with Matthews DCCM. I'm the engineer for the site plan.
I'm Michelle Smith, I'm the CEO of St. John's Recovery Place.
Thank you. Well, I have it for the record.
So they're individual apartments, so they'll have, kitchens, just like an individual apartment, an actual apartment, kitchen, living room, dining room, bedrooms.
So you don't have a commercial kitchen and
No.
dining room? Okay, thank you.
All right, so my statement is more for clarification purposes. So this is just basically step by step. So, we know what route we want to take, so now it's just a matter of coming up with that cost share obligation. Once we get that, or we've come to that agreement, then we scope out, or we plan out how long the scope and timing of them, for them to do the improvements. Is it step by step, and then, so once they have agreed upon those two, then they
Right.
issue permits to.
Right, so this site plan is good for 1 year,
Okay,
okay? So they have 1 year to obtain a building permit.
okay,
Okay. Now, they're not gonna be able to obtain a building permit if we don't have an agreement
right,
for this, because as soon as they start, the way the fire code works is you have to have fire suppression on site during construction, right? Because obviously,
Right.
once you start having walls up, and so, so all this will have to be worked out before the, and we had a conversation, so we had a meeting.
right.
I attended, the engineers were there, their engineers, our engineers were there, the city manager was there. Public Works was there, and so it was all to figure out at the timing of this, could we bring this forward now? And this was basically up to the owner, Shimon. So, he had a couple options. He had, PD, we basically, they resolved all the comments except for this one. So the conversation centered around the timing of all this, right? So he could have, if we thought that it was gonna take long, if he had heard in terms of what the city's plans were, and as I said, I think the funding is already some of the city's funding is already in place. If that hadn't been in place, we probably wouldn't have this site plan in front of you because we'd be concerned about it expiring before we get this done. So, once they have the building permits in hand, then they're good till they complete construction, as long as they make progress. So the way the building permits work, once the building permits are issued, you basically have to make progress every 6 months. You have to, at a minimum, have called for legitimately inspection. And so if you just call for an inspection and really just didn't do anything other than I called for inspection to keep the building permit alive, the county building department can cancel that permit if they wish. If they think that this was just,
Right.
just something to keep it active. But as long as they're, actually diligently working towards completion, right? So, so they could, depending on the timing of this, they have up to a year to go get those permits. And then they can keep them alive by keeping their inspections going. So that was primarily what that discussion was about, whether that approach was realistic or not.
So you answered my question, thank you.
Anyone have more questions today?
No.
Okay,
So I'd like to make a motion for site plan approval of 1125 North Summit Street.
Can I
yes,
just ask one thing? Does that include staff's recommendation of the conditions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, Mark.
I mean, I'm sure they'd be good with it,
Yeah.
but still, I'd like that condition officially.
I appreciate the clarity.
yes.
So does he need to restate the motion with?
No, he just needs to, just as long as we're clear that his approval includes the staff's recommended condition.
And my motion includes staff recommendations.
I second.
Okay, it has been properly motioned and second for the approval of the site plan with staff recommendation for 1125 North Summit Street. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, your site plan's approved. Thank you all.
No public comment?
It's not a public hearing. I mean, you
Oh.
can, you guys approved it, but if you do wanna hear from the public, you can, but it's not formally a public hearing. Right, this is,
I would like to make a statement.
Okay.
Okay.
I filled out a form and everything.
He filled out for.
Okay.
I'm legal. Good evening, my name's Alan Taylor. My address is 128 Harbison Avenue. We're directly behind the facility. We're the closest residential home to that property. And we've been a supporter of this facility from the beginning. I think they've been a great service to our community. They've brought a property that was vacant and run down, and now the property's kept in very good condition. And they're good neighbors. We have a good neighbor policy with them. In fact, we stay in contact with them. They're very considerate, trying to make sure that our needs being in a close vicinity to them, that we're happy with their production there and everything. So they've been a real asset and they take care of everything very well. And like I said, they're concerned with the surrounding communities. So I find them to be a favorable asset to our city. And also, when you were speaking about the water issue, we've had water issues from the time that we've lived here. And when they were putting in fiber optic cable, we have come to find out that the water feed to our property and surrounding properties is very weak and outdated. So that's something that area of the city's needed work on anyway. So it kind of has already been discussed and was kind of in the process. So like you had mentioned before, it's not a new issue, but it would be a good issue to have resolved. So this will kind of, also it'll help them, but it'll also help the surrounding neighbors there also. So I just have a positive outlook on their facility and business there. And like I said, it's very good neighbor policy. In fact, we're in contact with them on things that, make us good neighbors. So just wanted to give a seal of approval for the way that they handle their property and their business and the community. So
Thank you, Mr. Taylor, it's always
Yes,
positive to hear.
yes, thank you.
Thank you.
That was terrific, and particularly since you're the next door neighbor.
yes.
Yeah, I can tell you that it's a very attractive, facility.
Thank you.
Driving by, you wouldn't know what was there. It's,
Funny, a lot of people in town still don't know.
yeah.
I meet somebody at least once a week that has no idea that we're even there.
And I'm delighted to hear that your success is so great that you need to greatly expand.
We're excited about it. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, our next item of business on our agenda is other items. A, staff comments.
I don't have anything specific that I want to talk to you tonight. I do want to make you aware that there's been some changes in state law that have affected some items in our land development code. I think the thing that comes to mind most of all is change kind of how the platting process is going to work and how final plats get approved. So we'll have to change that. We're going to go through those and we'll be bringing forward sometime shortly some amendments that basically are results of the most recent legislative session. So it'll be coming to a meeting sometime in the future.
Okay, thank you.
That's all.
Public comments? Board member comments? I don't have a comment, but I just, so Melanie is just out this
She's been out
time?
for 2 weeks,
Okay, but she'll be back next week.
hopefully Monday.
Okay,
And Nancy was, kind of covering for her, and that's why you didn't get the packet.
Okay.
Melanie.
well, that's what I didn't know if,
Yeah.
oh, okay, all right. Okay, all right.
Nancy did notice, email them to you.
Okay,
She's had a beer on the kiosk for a couple days.
okay. That's okay. All right, okay. So adjournment, we will now adjourn if there's nothing else.
I have a question. Any update on the historical survey? Historical survey?
Will we discuss that?
Is it completed? Do we know?
I have no
I
idea.
haven't heard anything about it.
What is it?
The historical survey.
And have you heard anything about it?
So you guys have a consultant that was
Yes.
hired
Yeah.
to update the historic structure survey, right?
Yes.
I haven't heard the results of it either. I'm just confirming because I think I had only been told about it in passing. So I have no idea who got hired or what their timeframe was.
Right, the gentleman that was here the last time, well, when he presented, according to the, I think it was a match grant, there was a time frame, and I felt like he said they had until the end of June to complete it or something like that.
They did, and then he was granted a,
An
extension request.
okay.
So, well, I guess we'll wait till next month. I have nothing else. I make the motion to adjourn. How's that?
That's second.
It has been properly motion and second that we adjourn planning and zoning commission meeting for July 17, 2025.
I got you.
You got anything else, Dan?
I thought you had asked that before I asked my question. So, I didn't mean to jump the gun.
Or start discussing with their, sounds
Do you have a?
Mark, we'll see you next time. Thanks, thanks for being here.
All right.
So,
Are we gonna have historical
I'll
meeting?
issue a letter.
Yes, about the survey.
I was reading for one.
and also you said that we have a year to.
That's
Right, so. you
There's
know,
nothing to discuss, I don't think.
We should do it from
No,
that.
the only thing I will say
Yeah.
is that
It's
And
on
our
your building permit.
board training,
So we should do it
for
and then we-
organization concerning the legal law is that,
Correct.
we,
But as far as timeframe on that, it's not
Acquire-
on funding, you already
I
have,
spoke-
sounds like,
we talked
maybe
about
set
getting
plans.
a grant writer, so
Yes.
we'll find
So
out.
it's-
Oh, terrific.
So
Yeah, that's
where
good.
we're at.